pressure to reinvent yourself every year is so exhausting. In this video, I'll be sharing tips on what to do instead so you can finally get off the reinvent yourself hamster wheel. In his book Atomic Habits, James Clear shares about how the key to lasting change is to first of all change your identity, and he calls this identity-based habits. If you don't change your idea of who you are, the likelihood that some new habits that you're forming are going to stick is very slim, because if you're still the person who binges on 5 boxes of pizza, you're unlikely to make healthy habits because your identity is tied to pizza. Now, I know it sounds simplistic, but the fact is you have to first of all decide that I'm going to be a different person. I'm going to be a healthy person. So before you decide to reinvent yourself, the first step is to ask, who do I want to be? Who do you want to be? Who are you trying to become? The reason why all your previous reinvention efforts have not worked is because you don't know who you're trying to become. You haven't decided yet who that is. Today they say, oh, become that girl. And you want to be that girl, but you're trying to be that girl according to somebody else's timeline, somebody else's life, somebody else's idea of success. You haven't decided who that girl is for you. Who are you trying to be? What's your idea of success? What's your idea of a good life? You cannot just import somebody else's. You have to have your idea. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? When you think about reinventing yourself, who is that person? You need to sit with that and ask yourself those questions. How does the person that I'm trying to become behave? Who are they at their core? So you know exactly who you're trying to become. And that makes it so much easier. And you don't need to reinvent yourself every single year. Reinvention is a one-time thing. You just become more and more and more of the person that you have identified you're trying to become. It's like Oprah said, your job is to become more and more of yourself, of who you already are. At your core, you're already your best self. You just need to keep unfolding and unveiling that person every single day. So every single year, you still have the same goal, you still have the same vision, you're still trying to become this person. It's just that you're taking off more and more layers. It's a becoming. And the second step is that when you decide this is who I'm trying to become, you need to visualize that person's life. How does that person behave? How does that person act? What does that person do? You need to visit your future. You need to visit your future, your ideal future. You need to visit your ideal future and really get a picture of who is this person I'm trying to become? Who is this person I'm trying to become? What do they look like? What's their daily routine like? And you need to do this by visualizing, by sitting down and crafting an image in your mind. There are things that I do that I tell myself, this is not what Jola should be doing. This is not what the real Jola should be doing. The real Jola does not do things like this because that is not contributing to the life that she wants to build. First step, you have to know who that person is. You have to know what you're trying to be. You have to know what your values are going to be, what kind of life you're trying to build. Secondly, you need to get a picture. There are two different things. You can know exactly who you want to be and not have a clear picture of what that person's life is like. So you need to know and then you need to see, because you cannot become what you have not seen. And finally, you need to start acting like that person. This is where the efforts and the personal development and the goals come in. Because if all you're doing is, oh, they say that everybody should read 100 books every year. If that's your idea of reinvention, then you're just following a random path that somebody decided for you. Because if your goal is to be, say, a software developer, and then you're reading a bunch of random books, 100 books every year, you're running somebody else's race. What you need to be doing is maybe investing 100 hours in coding and learning a new language and building apps. So you need to decide, first of all, who am I trying to be? Secondly, what does that look like? What does that look like? You need to see it in your mind's eye. And finally, yes, you might not have everything that you need to get to your end result today. And I don't even know what this end result is, because just like Michelle Obama said in her book, Becoming, when people ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? As if there's this final destination and when you get there, you're done. Our lives are a journey. It's constant becoming, constant evolving. There's a general idea of who you're trying to be, but every year new things, new ideas, new pieces are being fitted to that puzzle. So there's no final destination, but there's a process, and you want to be sure that you're doing your own part in fulfilling that process. So know who you're trying to be, see who you're trying to be, and then start to act. I love how the Bible puts it. It says, live a life according to your calling. There's so many things that people ask me to do and invite me to do, and I say, I can't go because my calling does not expect such. What is required of me is different. It doesn't mean I'm better than you, because people always read that to mean, oh, she says she's better than us. I'm not better than you. But there are things that I can't do because I have a calling, I have a path. The person that I'm becoming, there are things that that person does. And the thing you invited me to do, that person does not do them. Okay? If the goals you have, every single goal that you have, is something that you imported from somebody telling you to reinvent yourself. And there's a problem there, because what you're doing is reinventing that person. You're not reinventing yourself. You're just joining that person on their journey instead of taking your journey. If you do this, if you follow these 3 simple steps, you will not need to start afresh every year. Instead, every single year you make more and more progress towards the person that you should become. I'm going to finish with a story of a journal of mine that my mom found like last year rather, and she told me about it. And my mom says, it's amazing for me to see, because you're literally on the same path. You're still aiming towards the same things. They're different now. It's a different way. It's on a different level. It's at a different intensity. But the goals that you wrote for yourself 13 years ago, you're still on that path. And that just shows that I know who I'm trying to be. So even in my process of reinvention, even in my deciding what habits do I need to keep, what habits do I need to let go of, there's a clear destination. There's a clear vision of who I'm trying to become. So before you try to reinvent yourself again, before you jump on the reinvention, before you let people tell you, oh, become unrecognizable in 2025, you should become unrecognizable. But the only people who don't recognize the person you're becoming is other people. You should recognize that person, because that person has it. There are things that I'm going to do in the future that other people will be surprised by. But I knew. I've seen those things 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I won't be surprised by them. I'll be happy that they finally happened, but I won't be surprised, because I knew they were going to happen. Other people didn't know. Other people have their opinions of me, their ideas of me. So to them, I have become unrecognizable, but I recognize the person that I'm becoming. So before you decide to reinvent yourself in 2025, follow these 3 steps. I promise you, you will reinvent yourself successfully. And you will not need to jump into every new year trying to become a new person, because you already know who you're trying to be. If you're trying to work on shifting your mindset and transforming your life radically, then you should watch this video where I talk about the one mindset that changed my life immediately. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope to see you next time. Bye. Ooh, I look good though. I look good, and I should take a photo.